Okay class, so ang topic natin ngayon ay capitalized cost and annual cost. So let's have a realistic example to relay the concept of capitalized cost. So what if you are going to buy this mini backhoe excavator for your project? So the first amount na gagastusin mo dito or yung pambili mo dito would be called the first cost. So let's have a downward arrow at the present time or yung sa 0. So that's the first cost. And then, every year, for its usage, your backhoe excavator will have a operating cost. And also, you anticipate that your backhoe excavator will be repaired if ever masisira. So that would be the maintenance cost. So in our cash flow, let's put a downward arrows and denote natin yan as the OM or the operating and maintenance cost. And then, what if after 6 years of using the backhoe excavator, you have found out na hindi na siya ganun ka-efficient, so you'll need to buy a new one. So, therefore, gagastos ka ulit ng pambili doon. So, ngayon, i-denote natin yung pambili natin by RC, which stands for replacement cost. And, syempre, yung old backhoe excavator mo, you could actually sell it. And yung mapagbebentahan mo doon could be deducted sa pambili mo ng panibagong backhoe. So yung price na mapagbebentahan mo, syempre, it is lesser than the first cost since nagamit na siya. And that would be denoted as the salvage value. And at 6th year, we still have there the OM or the operating and maintenance cost since ginagamit pa rin yung backhoe excavator. And then afterwards, we will anticipate that for the next 6 years, we are going to buy another machine. And then for another 6 years, the process will be repeated. So therefore, the formula of capitalized cost is given by K equals the first cost plus the present worth of the operating and maintenance cost. So it happens every year and assumed to continue forever, so that is a perpetuity. So the present worth of the operating and maintenance cost is given by OM over I. And then we have the replacement cost and the salvage value, which happens every 6 years and assumed to continue forever. So that would also be an application of perpetuity given by the formula RC minus SV over the quantity 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So our n here would be the time kung kailan ni-replace yung machine. Okay, so that is our formula for capitalized cost. K equals FC plus OM over I plus RC minus SV over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. And in relation to capitalized cost, our formula for annual cost would be AC equals K times I. So annual cost is the equivalent payment every year of the capitalized cost. So that is also an application of perpetuity. So let's have our examples. Okay, so for our first problem, find the capitalized cost of a bridge whose cost is 200 million pesos. The bridge must be partially rebuilt at a cost of 100 million at the end of each 20 years. I is 6%. Okay, so formula natin for capitalized cost is K equals FC plus OM over I plus RC minus SB over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So our first cost would be the price of the bridge in order to build it. So that is 200 million pesos. And then our OM, which is the operating and maintenance cost. So as we read the problem, find the capitalized cost of a bridge whose cost is 200 million. The bridge must be partially rebuilt at a cost of 100 million pesos at the end of each 20 years. So may na-mention ba na i-maintain yung bridge or i-repair? So walang na-mention. So therefore, our OM would be 0. And then next, RC minus SV. So our RC is the replacement cost. So in our problem, the bridge will not be replaced. It will just be rebuilt every 20 years for 100 million pesos. So let us take that to be our replacement cost. So what would be our SV or salvage value? So in our intro kanina, we are talking about a machine, and the machine can be resell. So magkakaroon tayo ng salvage value. But in our problem, we are talking about the bridge. So it's a structure. And walang na-mention na salvage value ang bridge after 20 years. So therefore, let us take our SV na 0. And then our N, sa denominator, yung 1 plus I raised to N minus 1, our N there is 20 years. Okay, so now by using our calculator, the capitalized cost of the bridge is 245.31 million pesos. Okay, so proceed na tayo on another example. Okay, so here we have compute the capitalized cost of a truck worth 800,000 pesos if it is estimated that it requires 20,000 per year to maintain, and that must be replaced at the same amount with a salvage value of 300,000 pesos after 5 years if the interest rate is 12% per annum. So again, formula natin for capitalized cost is K equals FC plus OM over I plus RC minus SV over 1 plus I raised to N minus 1. So our first cost is the worth of the truck in order to purchase it. So that is 800,000 pesos. And then the operating and maintenance cost is 20,000 per year. And our I is 12%. And then our replacement cost is, so if we read the problem again, na-mention dyan that the truck will be replaced at the same amount. So therefore, our replacement cost would be also 800,000 pesos. And our salvage value is 300,000. So therefore, naibenta mo yung old truck mo by 300,000 pesos and then bibili ka ng bago which is worth 800,000 pesos. So nabawasan na yung pag-purchase mo ng brand new truck by 300,000. Okay, so our I is 12% and our N is 5 years. So therefore, the capitalized cost of the truck is 1,622,540.55 pesos. Okay, so let's have another problem. Okay, so for our next problem, a contractor can buy a truck for 800,000 or rent them by 1,200 pesos per day. The truck has a salvage value of 100,000 pesos at the end of its useful life of 5 years. The annual cost of maintenance is 20,000. So the question is, which is more cost efficient, buying the truck or rent the truck? So this problem is related to our decision-making skills. Either we will rent or buy the truck. So syempre, dun tayo kung saan tayo makakamura. So ano yung basis ng comparison natin? Yun ay kung magkano ba ang gagastusin for the usage of the truck for a year. So if we rent the truck for a year, so that would be, so cost of rent for a year is equal to, so in a year there is 360 days, and ang rental is 1,200 pesos per day. So that would be 432,000. So again, let's make the other option. What if we buy the truck? So that would cost 800,000 pesos and salvage value na 100,000 pesos at the end of 5 years, and may maintenance siya na 20,000 pesos every year. So as I've said earlier, ang magiging comparison natin dito is their cost for a year. So therefore, let us solve for the price of the annual cost of the truck. So formula natin for annual cost is AC equals K times I, and K there is the capitalized cost. And formula natin for capitalized cost is, so our first cost is 800,000 Our OM is 20,000. Okay, so I here is 14%. So nakalimutan ko ilagay. And the replacement cost is, so hindi na mention sa problem yung replacement cost. So therefore, we are going to take yung 800,000 pesos na first cost to be our replacement cost. And then the salvage value is 100,000 after 5 years. And our I here is 14%. So the annual cost of the truck is 237,898 pesos 0.48. So therefore, ano ang mas cost efficient? Siyempre, yun yung mas cheaper, which is buying the truck. Kasi in the long span, mas makakatipid ka dito. Okay, so let's have our final example. Okay, so here, a certain equipment costs 150,000 pesos, lasts for 6 years, and has a salvage value of 30,000 pesos. How much could an investor afford to pay for another machine for the same purpose, whose life is 10 years and salvage value is 40,000, if money is worth 5%? So, ang required dito sa problem will be analyzed in this statement. How much could an investor afford to pay for another machine for the same purpose? So first, let us solve for the capitalized cost of the first machine. Okay, so the first cost to buy the machine or the equipment is 150,000 pesos. And then, OM, walang na-mention, so that would be 0. And for the replacement cost, walang na-mention, so that would be equal to the first cost. And the salvage value is 30,000. And the lifespan is 6 years. And I is 5%. So therefore, the capitalized cost of the first machine is 502,841.92 pesos. And then next, from the statement, how much could an investor afford to pay for another machine for the same purpose? This means, class, that he have already his first option, which is buying a machine for a capitalized cost na 502,841.92 pesos. And then, there is an alternative option. There is a other machine whose life is 10 years and a salvage value is 40,000 pesos. So, if he's going to take that other option, magkano fund niya to buy it considering that he have quota of price from his first option. So therefore, for the other machine, our K here would be set into the first machine's capitalized cost. So next, again our OM over I is 0. And then I mentioned that the salvage value of the other machine is 40,000 and its lifespan is 10 years. And then our first cost, so that would be the unknown. And our replacement cost would also be equals to the first cost. So using your calculator, the first cost of the machine is 218,696.41 pesos. Okay, so that's all for capitalized cost.